the very first place you have to go to. You have to go to that place within that you can't cut in half. That, if you take silence and try to cut it in half, it's like zero in mathematics. No matter how many times you cut it in half, you still have just zero. And it's the same with silence. And so, Melville, the great novelist, said that God's one and only voice is silence. And Pascal said that, all of man's troubles stem from his inability to sit quietly in a room alone. If you can get quiet and just pay attention to what's in there and then let go of that and learn how to get quiet without falling asleep, that's one of the first steps. The other is to just, one of the things that I learned in studying the I Am discourses is that you can never know the way to higher consciousness as long as you have judgment, criticism, or condemnation towards any of God's creations. So it's getting rid of the judgment. You look at all of these beautiful flowers out here, and then you see a whole string, and someone said to me, well, that's just a whole field of weeds. And I said, the only difference between a flower and a weed is a judgment. It's just a judgment. And if you can get past judgment and just, the Beatles had it right. It's just let it be, just let it be, and just allow and be in a state of gratitude. I just went for a swim at your Y over here and came back and got into the shower, and it was a nice warm shower running over, washing, and I constantly remind myself to stay in a state of gratitude just for the shower, and it was all misty and kind of cool out there, and just to appreciate the mist. And when you're in the swimming pool, to just appreciate your body being able to move through the water, and to stay in that state of gratitude and appreciation for everything. Whoever you encounter, even the things that you think shouldn't be coming your way, they're oftentimes the greatest gifts that you've ever had. It's like, I haven't had alcohol in my body for close to 30 years now. And those years of drinking and those years of being out of control and the painful things that we had back in our early life, my years in an orphanage and so on, those are the greatest teachers that have ever come my way. My father walked out on us, abandoned us, didn't have anything to do with any of us. And it turns out he was one of the greatest teachers that ever came into my life. I don't even know that in this universe that he incarnated into this world to do one thing, and that is to behave like a jerk, towards all of it, so that I could get to a state in my life where I could end up at his grave, and rather than being full of rage, forgiveness. And forgiveness is like, what Mark Twain often said, that forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. To be able to send love. That's the message of all of the great spiritual masters. That's what Jesus' message was. Just be an instrument of love. Just send love wherever you go. And when you have that kind of divine love within you, everything in your world just seems to change. And things start to work for you because you're aligned, finally, with the source from which we all originated, which is God.
All things are possible, right? So what does that leave out? What does all things are possible leave out? Absolutely nothing, right? So all things are possible. And when you begin to adopt this kind of awareness and this kind of understanding that all things are possible, and whatever is necessary for you to fulfill your dharma and your journey, as long as you stay connected to this, which is what God is, isn't it? God is love. It's not me, I didn't say it. It's right out of the New Testament. God is love, and he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in me, and I in him. And when enough of us get it, when enough of us align with that kind of awareness, we will begin to make the kinds of shifts that will bring this planet to a whole new level of awareness and consciousness. We will get rid of the wars. We will get rid of the hatred, the divisions. When we recognize that everything is in balance in the universe, and it all comes from consciousness, and consciousness is located in all of us. And when we are out of balance, we project that kind of energy outward.
In the Course in Miracles, they talk about that all you have to do is try to inspire somebody else to have a willingness to want to change. And then whatever it is that you need will be there. The teachers will show up, the books will be there. There's teachers everywhere, and there's an old Buddhist proverb that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. You don't have to look for your teachers. You just have to go for your readiness. You just have to be willing. And as soon as you're willing, it'll all show up. Everything will show up exactly on time, the way it's supposed to. And you can get your ego out of the process and say, I'm just being done, and I'm just going to be done in the way that God wanted me to be done, rather than taking on this thing we call an ego, which is really an acronym for edging God out. We edge God out of our lives, and we say, we'll take over. I'm in charge of this. I'll do everything. But the fact is, you're in charge of nothing. The only free will that you have is the decision whether you're going to stay aligned with God or aligned with something other than that.
There is a place within you that the world cannot touch, a space so vast, so still, so eternal, that even your loudest worries cannot echo there. It is not something you earn. It is not something you strive to create. It is already within you, waiting. It waits patiently with the quiet majesty of the ocean for you to finally surrender. You were never asked to carry the weight of the world. You only believed you had to. You were never meant to orchestrate every detail of your life like a puppet master tightening the strings. You only thought control was safety. That if you held tighter, gripped harder, forced outcomes, managed every twist and turn, then maybe, just maybe, you could outrun the unknown. But the truth is, life was never yours to control. It was always yours to trust. Miracles are not the reward for effort. They are the natural result of alignment. They bloom not where force reigns, but where surrender breathes. Surrender is not about giving up. It is about letting go of the illusion that you ever had to fight for your worth, your peace, your direction. You are not here to micromanage the universe. You are here to remember the divine orchestra already playing behind the scenes, the one your soul has always danced to, even when your mind was too loud to hear the melody. The miracle does not arrive when you figure everything out. It arrives when you realize you don't need to. You see, the ego thrives on certainty. It feeds on control. It seeks safety in the illusion of dominance, of being the one who holds the reins. But your soul trusts. Your soul flows. Your soul doesn't ask what if. It whispers, even if you don't know the outcome, you are safe. Even if the path is unclear, you are guided. Even if things fall apart, you are held. The river of your life was never meant to be dammed by fear. It was meant to flow freely through the landscape of surrender. And every time you try to swim upstream with your expectations, your plans, your attachments, you exhaust yourself against a current that was never meant to be fought. Miracles don't happen in the tension. They happen in the release. To surrender is not to become passive. To surrender is to become aligned. To surrender is not to stop acting, it is to stop reacting. It is to rise into the present moment and say, I will no longer be the prisoner of my need to control. I will trust the timing of the tides. I will walk forward even if I cannot see the shore. What if your next miracle is already waiting for you? But it needs you to step aside, to let go, to get out of the way. What if the very thing you've been chasing is behind the door labeled surrender? The truth is, the more you let go, the more you are given. Not because the universe is testing you, but because the universe is responding to your frequency. Surrender raises your vibration to match the miraculous. Surrender releases the fear that clouds your vision and reveals the abundance that was always there. You are not being punished when things fall apart. You are being recalibrated. You are being softened so that grace can enter. You are being emptied so that the divine can pour in. The ego will tell you that surrender is weakness, that letting go means defeat. But in truth, surrender is the highest form of strength, because it says, I trust something greater than my fear. The one who surrenders is not lost. The one who surrenders is found. You are not here to muscle through life. You are here to melt into it. You are here to allow life to happen through you, not just to you. Stop asking life to obey your plans and start listening to the plans life already has for you. Because those plans are often better, bigger, and more beautiful than anything your mind could have conceived. But they require your stillness. They require your openness. They require your surrender. The flower does not bloom by force. It opens to the sun in silence. The miracle does not arrive by demand. It arises in devotion. You cannot force grace, but you can welcome it. And every time you loosen your grip, every time you breathe and choose trust over panic, peace over pressure, flow over force, you become the doorway. You become the vessel. You become the miracle. Let your soul remind you now. You are not separate from the divine. You are an expression of it. And the more you release your need to figure it all out, the more you are guided by the wisdom that already knows. Life is not asking you to strive. It is asking you to surrender. You've spent years trying to make everything make sense, trying to connect dots that weren't meant to be connected, trying to hold on to people who were only passing through, trying to force open doors that were gently trying to close. And now there's an ache inside. Not the kind that screams, but the kind that whispers, there must be another way. And there is. It is the path of surrender, the soft, luminous road that doesn't require you to figure it all out, but to feel your way forward with trust. Surrender is not a strategy, it's a sacred posture. It is the space between what you want to happen and what is meant to happen. It is the letting go of the idea that your worth is tied to your performance, your timeline, your accomplishments. It is not giving up. It is giving over, handing the reins to the infinite intelligence that shaped galaxies, carved oceans, and gave your lungs their first breath. When you surrender, you do not collapse, you rise. Not with arrogance, but with grace. You rise with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that the same force that turns caterpillars into butterflies, seeds into forests, and storms into calm skies is working behind the scenes of your life too. You stop fighting the unknown and begin bowing to it. You stop resisting the present and begin welcoming it as your greatest teacher. There is no need to rush the unfolding. The rose does not bloom because it is told to. It blooms because it trusts the season. And you, dear soul, are no different. Your life is blooming in the exact rhythm it needs to. No faster, no slower. And the moment you stop trying to manipulate the timing, you free yourself from the prison of expectation. You release yourself into the miracle of now. Miracles are not far-off explosions of glory. They are quiet alignments. A tear that finally falls after years of holding it in. A deep breath taken without fear. A conversation that heals what silence once fractured. A moment of stillness that reminds you that peace was never out there, it was always inside. These are the miracles born not of control, but of surrender. You cannot force healing. You cannot muscle your way into clarity. The soul does not speak in commands. It speaks in whispers. And to hear it, you must be still enough to listen. You must quiet the ego long enough to recognize that your striving has only taken you in circles. The real movement, the sacred movement, happens when you stop moving against life and start moving with it. We are conditioned to chase, to conquer, to prove. But the soul knows better. The soul seeks alignment, not achievement. The soul says, release the need to be impressive and choose instead to be authentic. Release the need to be right and choose instead to be at peace. Release the grip on who you thought you needed to be and return to who you've always been, beneath the noise, divine, whole, and enough. And what of the pain? What of the heartbreak, the betrayal, the failures? They too are part of the sacred design. Not punishments, but portals. Not accidents, but awakenings. Pain is not the enemy. Resistance is. For when pain is welcomed, it becomes a purifier. It strips away all that is false. It brings you to your knees, not to destroy you, but to ground you. And from that ground, the miracle grows. There is nothing more courageous than trusting the unseen. Nothing more radical than choosing peace when chaos is loud. Nothing more divine than saying, I do not know what's coming, but I trust it anyway. That is surrender. That is power. That is when the universe conspires with your soul to make the impossible unfold with grace. You do not need to know what's next. You need only to be willing to not know. That willingness is the invitation. That openness is the doorway. That surrender is the spark that sets the miracle in motion. Because the moment you say, I release this, the divine says, now I can work with it. Your fear is not the truth. It is the echo of old conditioning, the echo of a self that thought it had to earn love, prove worth, control outcomes. But that self is ready to be laid to rest. You are not your story. You are not your trauma. You are not your fear. You are the awareness beneath it. You are the presence watching it. And when you identify with the observer rather than the experience, you are free. Freedom begins where resistance ends. Peace begins where expectations fall. Miracles begin where surrender takes root. Let go of the need to have the answer. Let go of the need to fix, to force, to fabricate a future built on fear. Instead, stand in the stillness. Trust the unfolding. Say to life, I am here. I am open. I am yours. And watch. Watch how life rearranges itself, not to punish you, but to awaken you. Watch how what once felt like delay becomes divine redirection. Watch how the closed doors become protection. Watch how your waiting becomes sacred preparation, not because you did more, but because you finally did less. You surrendered. The sky does not apologize for its storms. The ocean does not resist its tides, and the soul does not panic in the unknown. It trusts, it surrenders. It knows that even when you can't see the sun, the light has not disappeared. It has only moved behind the clouds. And your job is not to chase the sun. It is to trust that the clouds will part. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are exactly where you are meant to be. And when you surrender to that truth, you stop chasing miracles and you start living them. There is a rhythm to life that doesn't need your permission to beat. It pulses through the trees, hums beneath your skin, whispers through the silence between your thoughts. You were never asked to conduct the orchestra only to listen and then respond with grace. The miracle is not in how loudly you demand answers, but in how gently you allow truth to reveal itself in divine timing. You were not sent here to dominate the current. You were sent here to learn how to float, how to merge with the river rather than dam it with fear. When you surrender, you stop negotiating with the wind. You begin to sail with it. You allow the universe to show you where it's already going, and you accept that your destination doesn't need your map, it only needs your willingness to go. The mind will try to convince you that more control will bring you more peace. But that is the lie that keeps you spinning. Peace isn't the result of controlling life, it's the reward for ceasing to resist it. True peace is not the absence of storms, but the unwavering trust that you are carried even in chaos, that you are guided even in stillness, that you are loved even when all feels uncertain. It is only when you stop clinging that your hands become open to receive. And what flows in when you surrender is not random. It's exactly what your soul has been calling forth. But it was blocked by the noise of your expectations, the tension of your timing, the rigidity of your desires. Surrender softens you into receptivity. It turns your being into a garden for grace to take root. Letting go does not mean you no longer care. It means you finally care enough to stop interfering. It means you trust the deeper intelligence moving through all things, even those that feel broken, even those that seem delayed. There is a sacred intelligence in every moment that does not need your anxiety, only your availability. Every breath you take is proof that the divine is still choosing you. Even in your uncertainty, even in your doubt, even in your weariness, you are still being breathed by something beyond you. And that something, that source, that ineffable presence has never once asked you to fix everything. It only ever asked you to return. Return to stillness. Return to trust. Return to the knowing that you are already held. There is nothing to prove to the universe. There is only yourself to rediscover beneath the layers of control, judgment, and fear. The miracle begins when you stop trying to rewrite what was already perfectly written, your purpose, your path, your becoming. Nothing has been missed. No step has been wasted. All of it, even the detours, even the delays, has been sacred choreography. It is not too late to begin again, because life is not linear, it is eternal. And every moment you choose surrender, you are reborn into a clearer, freer version of yourself. You are not who you were 5 minutes ago. You are not bound to the identity you wore yesterday. You are not beholden to the script the world gave you. You are a soul in motion, unfolding like a star, remembering its own light. And this remembrance does not arrive through effort. It arrives through surrender. Not because you deserve it more, but because you finally allow it in. The ego will keep saying, "What's next?" The soul simply says, "Be here." The ego will ask, "How do I fix this?" The soul replies, "Let it teach you." The ego resists the present. The soul merges with it. When you are no longer at war with what is, you become a channel for what could be. You stop recycling old reactions and begin creating new responses. This is the power of surrender. Not that it changes the world, but that it changes you. And when you change, everything reflects that shift. The outer world bends to meet the vibration of your inner freedom. Stop asking how long it will take. Start asking who you're becoming while you wait. Because when you surrender, the process is the destination. The growth is the gift. The presence is the miracle. And there is no need to force anything, because what is meant for you will not require you to betray your peace to receive it. It will arrive as a whisper, not a bang. It will feel like ease, not effort. It will unfold like a dawn you didn't have to chase. This is the paradox. When you finally stop chasing, you become the space where everything arrives. Not because you gave up, but because you woke up. And waking up means remembering that your soul was never lost. It was only buried beneath the layers of striving, comparison, and control. Let the striving fall away. Let the comparison dissolve. Let the need to be the master of the outcome be replaced by the joy of being a participant in the mystery. You don't need to figure it all out. You only need to follow the nudges, the quiet whispers, the gentle pulls toward peace. Because the voice of the soul will never scream. It will only wait quietly, patiently, for you to be still enough to hear it. And when you do, it won't give you a 10-step plan. It will give you one word, one feeling, one sacred yes that leads you to the next. And in that yes, the miracle will begin to bloom. There is a moment, subtle, holy, quiet, when the storm inside you ceases not because the world has changed, but because you have. It's the moment the tide within stops thrashing and begins listening. The moment you no longer demand that life rearrange itself for your comfort, but you find comfort in simply being. That is surrender. That is when the miracle begins. Its descent into form, not as an explosion, but as a deep, sacred silence inside your being. You realize that nothing outside you has to change for you to be free. That your wholeness is not waiting in a future you have to chase. It's already present, buried beneath the tension you no longer need to carry. The treasure was never in the outcome. The treasure is in your alignment, in your presence. In the moment you allow yourself to fully inhabit the now, without judgment, without clinging, without resistance, you begin to see that peace was never the result of solving everything. Peace is what rises when you stop trying to solve what was never yours to carry. It is what emerges when you stop managing the moment and start merging with it. And in that space, in that surrender, you notice how soft the world becomes. Not because the world changed, because you did. You stopped guarding your heart like a battlefield and began treating it like a garden. You stopped bracing for impact and started opening for grace. And life, faithful as always, responds to your inner environment. You don't receive miracles by earning them. You receive miracles by becoming a space where they're no longer resisted. You become a place where light is welcome, not doubted. Where blessings aren't chased, but noticed. Where the soul is not silenced by striving, but awakened by stillness. This is where healing begins. Not when you finally fix the wound, but when you stop identifying with it. When you realize you are not your pain. You are the presence that has witnessed it all. You are the space through which the pain has passed. You are the sky, not the storm. You are the awareness behind the struggle, and that awareness is not broken. That awareness has always been whole. You have not been waiting for healing. Healing has been waiting for you to stop rehearsing the pain long enough to remember who you were before the story. Waiting for you to stop dragging the past into the present and begin allowing what is to be enough. Waiting for you to stop trying to fix what was and start living what is. The miracle is not the erasing of your past, it is the awakening that your past does not define you. The miracle is the shift in perception that says, even this was sacred, even this served me, even this can be blessed. That is the power of surrender. Not that it erases what happened, but that it removes the veil and reveals what it was always trying to teach you. You do not heal by controlling the future. You heal by releasing your grip on how healing should look. You free yourself from the timeline, the formula, the comparison. You allow your own soul to set the pace. And in doing so, you return to your nature fluid, intuitive, unhurried, divine. There is no urgency in the soul, only invitation, only presence, only the quiet knowing that all is unfolding as it must, not according to your calendar, but according to cosmic choreography. The very stars are in on this timing. The very winds know your name. The unfolding has never been random. It is you who are being perfectly timed with the beat of the universe, a rhythm your ego may not understand, but your soul has always trusted. And so you begin to breathe again, fully, deeply, not just air, but life. You inhale without fear. You exhale without resistance. You realize that to be here fully, truthfully, vulnerably is the greatest miracle of all. Because in this presence, there is no past to fix, no future to fear, only now, only you, only love. And the love that meets you in surrender is not the conditional love of the world, it is divine. It is the love that saw you before your first breath. The love that never turned away, even when you forgot. The love that stood quietly at the door of your heart until you finally stopped running, stopped striving, stopped doubting, and opened. That love is not a reward. It is your inheritance. And you need not perform to receive it. You only need to allow it. Let it in. Let it rise. Let it wash away all the voices that told you you were not enough. Let it drown out the noise of your conditioning and bring you back home, not to a place, but to yourself. You are not just part of the universe. You are the universe in human form. You are the breath of God remembering itself in a body. You are the sacred experiencing itself through limitation. And the moment you surrender to that knowing, your life is no longer a struggle, it becomes a dance. You stop trying to make everything happen, and you start participating in what is already happening through you. You stop pushing, and you start allowing. You stop resisting the tides, and you begin to move with them. You understand that your job is not to be the source, your job is to stay open to the source. And in that openness, miracles become ordinary. Peace becomes natural. Love becomes who you are, not what you seek. Now the light that once seemed so far has moved inside you. Not a distant star, but a quiet glow, warm, unwavering, eternal. You are no longer searching for signs. You have become one. You are no longer chasing miracles. You are breathing them. Surrender has stripped away the illusions. It has emptied the cup that once overflowed with striving, proving, controlling, and in that emptying, it has made space for the sacred, a space for grace, space for peace. And you begin to see that what you called loss was the clearing. What you called delay was the preparation. What you feared was the doorway. You were not broken. You were being opened. Life was not against you. It was carving you into a vessel wide enough to hold the infinite. The pain was not a punishment. It was a purification. And now, in the silence after the storm, you can hear what was always true. You are not here to fight life. You are here to remember that you are life expressed in a body, moving through a season, unfolding in divine rhythm. And what unfolds now is no longer something you chase, it is something you witness. You no longer wrestle with your reality. You welcome it. You no longer beg for the moment to be different. You bow to it because you finally understand everything belongs. Even the ache, even the doubt, even the silence, especially the silence. That is where the soul speaks. That is where miracles begin, not in noise, but in stillness, not in effort, but in surrender, not in more doing, but in deeper being. And being means returning again and again to the quiet center within, the place untouched by time, unshaken by circumstance, unbothered by outcomes, the place that knows even when you don't, that trusts even when you can't, that waits even when you wander. This is the sacred presence at the core of you. It has never left. It only waited for you to stop running long enough to feel it again. You are not your fear. You are not your thoughts. You are not your wounds. You are the one who sees them, holds them, and loves them back into light. Surrender is not a point on your path. It is the path. The more you release, the more you rise. The less you force, the more flows to you. The softer you become, the stronger your light. And in that light, everything changes, not because the world shifts, but because you've shifted your gaze. You now see with the eyes of love. You now walk with the ease of trust. You now speak with a voice of peace. And the beauty is, nothing outside you had to change. Your transformation was internal. It was not dramatic. It was not loud. It was sacred, quiet, profound, a miracle. And so the journey that began in resistance ends in reverence. You no longer ask life to go your way. You ask how you can align with the way life is already going. You no longer pray for circumstances to bend. You pray for your soul to expand into them. You no longer hold your breath, waiting for a breakthrough. You breathe deeply, knowing you are the breakthrough. The surrender is complete, not because you'll never resist again, but because now you know how to return. Now you know that even when your mind forgets, your soul remembers. And that remembrance is always available. That peace is always possible. That freedom is always one letting go away. So take this final breath with the reverence it deserves. Let it be a baptism. Let it be a homecoming. Let it be the soft thunder that reminds every cell in your being. You are safe. You are seen. You are sacred. You are not falling apart. You are being remade. And in this remaking, there is no need for fear. Only faith. Faith in the unseen. Faith in the unfolding. Faith in the knowing that the more you surrender, the more you are carried. Because the universe does not abandon what it creates. It completes it. It blesses it. It breathes through it. And it is breathing through you right now. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are standing in one, and it began the moment you surrendered.
In the stillness of your being, in the gentle heartbeat of existence, there lies a truth that transcends time and space. Presence is the only place power exists. It is not in the rush of yesterday's regret, nor in the anxious anticipation of tomorrow's uncertainty. True power resides not in what you possess, nor in the accomplishments you gather, but in your ability to be fully, completely present in the moment. This moment, this sacred now, the very instant in which you are reading these words, breathing these breaths, feeling this life. You see, there is a secret that the world has tried to mask, a truth that is often hidden in the noise and chaos of everyday life. You are not what has happened to you. You are not what you fear may come. You are not the thoughts that whirl in your mind like a tempest. You are none of these things. You are that which observes, that which witnesses, the space between thoughts, the stillness beneath the surface of the storm. You are presence. This is where power begins, not in the constant striving of the ego, which forever seeks to validate itself in the eyes of others, not in the endless pursuit of accomplishments, possessions, and accolades. These are fleeting, temporary. They come and go like waves crashing against the shore. But what remains? The shore itself, the stillness that watches all things, unaffected, unmoved by the tides of external events. That is the power of presence. The ego, in its endless quest for validation, has convinced you that power lies in control, in force, in manipulation. It whispers to you that the more you can control, the more you can acquire, the more you can conquer, the more powerful you will become. But this is a lie. True power lies not in what you can control, but in what you can surrender, in the letting go. Imagine for a moment that you are standing on the edge of a vast ocean. The waves are crashing violently, the wind's howling, the water churning in every direction. The chaos is overwhelming, and yet you stand firm, unmoved. You do not attempt to control the ocean. You do not try to stop the waves or still the wind. No. Instead, you surrender. You let the ocean be what it is. And in that surrender, you become one with the ocean. You feel the rhythm of the waves. You align with the movement of the water. In that surrender, you discover a stillness that was always there beneath the surface of the storm. That stillness is the power of presence. We have been conditioned to believe that the answer to life's challenges lies in action, in doing, in achieving. And while action has its place, it is not the source of true power. True power comes when we stop trying to force life to be something it is not, and instead allow life to flow through us as it was always meant to. In the acceptance of what is and the surrender to the present moment, we find our true strength. This is the paradox of life. In surrender, we gain. In letting go, we hold everything. The moment you stop struggling, the moment you stop trying to control, you align with the flow of the universe. You become like a leaf on the surface of a river, floating effortlessly downstream. The current of life carries you, and in that surrender, you find your purpose, your power, your peace. But this is not something the ego can understand. The ego, ever hungry for more, cannot fathom the concept of surrender. It is only when we step outside the grasp of the ego, when we stop identifying with the false sense of self that is constantly trying to prove its worth, that we begin to experience the power of presence. The ego is not who you are. It is a construct, a collection of thoughts and beliefs that have been shaped by the past, by the opinions of others, by society. But who you are is not a thought. You are not your beliefs. You are not your past. You are presence itself. And in that presence, all things are possible. Not because you will them into being, but because you align with the flow of life, which is constantly unfolding. You see, when you are present, you become an instrument of the universe. You are no longer the one trying to control and manipulate. You are the one being moved. And in this state of alignment, you discover a power far greater than anything the ego could ever create. This is the power of being. This is the power of now. But to experience this, you must first be willing to release the illusion of control. You must be willing to let go of your attachment to outcomes, to expectations, to the idea that you need to have everything figured out. You are already enough. You always have been. Your worth is not dependent on your achievements, your possessions, or the approval of others. Your worth is inherent in the very fact that you exist. You are a divine expression of life itself, a unique manifestation of the universe's infinite creativity. You are already whole. This is why presence is the only place power exists. In the present moment, there is no need to prove yourself. There is no need to seek validation from others or chase after fleeting desires. In the now, you are already everything you need to be. All the power you seek, all the answers you are searching for, are contained in this moment. You are the source of your own power. And so, the invitation is simple. Be present. Be here. Be now. Stop running from the present moment. Stop avoiding what is. Stop resisting the flow of life. When you surrender to the present, you allow yourself to be filled with the power of the universe. You allow yourself to be guided by an intelligence far greater than anything the mind can comprehend. And in that guidance, you will find peace. You will find joy. You will find love. You will find freedom. The past no longer has any hold over you, for it is only a memory. The future is but a dream, a projection of the mind. The only place where life is real, where life is happening, is in the present moment. And in that moment, you are free. You are powerful. This is the essence of who you are. You are not a separate individual struggling to survive. You are not your thoughts, your emotions, or your story. You are the presence that witnesses it all. You are the stillness beneath the surface. You are the ocean, vast and infinite, capable of containing all things. When you awaken to this truth, you awaken to your true power. You no longer need to chase after success, recognition, or validation. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone, including yourself. You simply need to be. And in that being, you will discover a strength beyond measure, a peace beyond comprehension, and a love that transcends all understanding. So, let go of the past. Let go of the future. Let go of the struggle, the effort, the need to control, and simply be present. In the present, you are whole. In the present, you are powerful. In the present, you are free. And as you embrace this truth, you will begin to see the world around you change. The circumstances that once seemed overwhelming will no longer have the power to shake you. The challenges that once seemed insurmountable will no longer feel like obstacles. For when you are grounded in the present, nothing can disturb your peace. Nothing can take away your power. You are presence. This is your true nature. This is the power you have always possessed. You were never broken. You were never lacking. You were never incomplete. You were always whole. And now, you are awake to the truth. The truth that presence is the only place power exists. The truth that you are not your thoughts, your emotions, or your circumstances. You are the stillness that witnesses it all. You are the presence that is always here, always now, always free. And in that freedom, you will discover a life far more beautiful than anything the ego could ever create. A life filled with peace, with love, with joy, with grace. A life where you are no longer bound by the past, no longer fearful of the future, but free to live fully, freely, and powerfully in the now. Presence is the only place power exists. And now you know the truth. When you allow yourself to truly be present, you begin to realize that the moment is all there is. All that you've been seeking, all that you've been running after is already here in front of you, waiting to be acknowledged. It's not hidden in some far-off future or locked away in the depths of the past. It's here, right now. The power that you seek to change your life is here in this moment, in this breath, in this stillness. The ego, in its search for meaning and value, believes it needs to gather more, achieve more, become more. It whispers, You must have this before you can be happy. You must accomplish that before you can be worthy. But this is the illusion, for you are already enough. You were never lacking, never incomplete. It was never about becoming anything more. It was always about remembering who you are and allowing yourself to be that truth in every moment. When we surrender the belief that we need to chase or strive, we step into the power of presence. Surrender is not weakness, it is strength. Surrendering to what is in this moment allows us to move with the flow of life rather than against it. It is like a river that no longer fights the rocks and obstacles in its path, but flows effortlessly around them. In that flow, it finds its strength, its purpose. In this moment, right now, you can stop seeking, you can stop fighting, you can stop running. You are home. There is nothing to prove, nowhere to go. Just breathe. Feel your heart beating, the air filling your lungs, the pulse of life coursing through your veins. You are already living the miracle. The miracle is, in this moment, in the ordinary, the mundane, the breath of life itself. In the realm of presence, there is no room for judgment, comparison, or competition. These are all constructs of the mind, the ego, that cause us to measure ourselves against others, to believe that we are either too much or not enough. But you are not your mind. You are not your judgments or your comparisons. You are the awareness that witnesses all of it, the silent observer, untouched by the fluctuations of thought and emotion. When you move beyond the identification with the ego, you experience a deep sense of peace. It is the peace of knowing that nothing can disturb your essence. Nothing can take away your worth. You are. And that is enough. The noise of the world may try to pull you in, but you remain anchored in your center, in the stillness of presence, where nothing external can alter the truth of who you are. Think about the times when you felt most alive, when you were so deeply immersed in an experience that the rest of the world faded away. Perhaps it was in a moment of deep connection with another, in a creative flow, or simply in the quiet of nature. In those moments, you were fully present. There was no past pulling at you, no future waiting to be fulfilled. You were simply here, and that was enough. That is the state of power, pure presence. You see, power doesn't lie in control or manipulation. It doesn't lie in forcing things to happen or trying to change the world on your terms. True power lies in surrendering to the natural flow of life, in allowing the universe to work through you rather than trying to force it to conform to your desires. The moment you let go of the need to control, the moment you let go of your attachment to outcomes, you align with the greater wisdom that already knows the way. This is why we must learn to trust. Trust in the process of life. Trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should, even when we cannot see the bigger picture. Trust that each moment has its own perfection, even in the midst of challenge. When you trust, you release the weight of worry, the burden of control, and step into the freedom of being. The present moment is the only true point of power because it is the only moment that is real. The past is a shadow, a memory. The future is an idea, a projection. Only now, this very moment, holds the power to change your life. The key to transformation is not in what you will do tomorrow or what you have done in the past. It is in what you choose to do right now. So, I ask you to consider, what would your life look like if you truly embraced the power of presence? What would it feel like to let go of the need to be anywhere other than here, to stop searching for happiness in the future, to stop chasing validation in the eyes of others? Imagine the peace, the freedom, the power that would arise from simply being who you are in this moment without judgment, without striving. The truth is, the more you let go of the need to control and the more you embrace the present, the more you will experience your true self. You will discover a version of you that is whole, complete, and powerful beyond measure. The world may continue to swirl around you, but you will remain anchored in your truth, grounded in your essence, clear in your purpose, and in that truth, you will find the most profound freedom. The freedom to be yourself, to live authentically, and to trust that life will guide you exactly where you need to go. This is the gift of presence. It is not something you need to achieve or acquire. It is already within you, waiting to be remembered, to be embraced. So now, as you sit in this moment, take a deep breath. Feel the power of your presence. You are not the thoughts that come and go. You are not the emotions that rise and fall. You are the stillness behind it all, the awareness that observes, the soul that is always connected to the infinite. You are power. And from this moment, you are free. Free to be exactly who you are. Free to let go of everything that no longer serves you. Free to step into the flow of life with trust, with peace, and with the knowing that the power you seek is already within you. This is the truth of who you are. Presence is the only place power exists. And now you have remembered you are home. When you are present, you become a clear vessel through which life can flow. It's like a stream that no longer fights the rocks and obstacles in its path, but moves effortlessly around them, shaping its course. The water doesn't struggle to find its way, it simply follows the path of least resistance. This is the flow of life, and when you are in alignment with it, you cease to struggle. The path unfolds before you, not through your effort, but through your willingness to be. You are the river, and the river is you. This is not a passive state. This is not the surrender of a weak or timid spirit. It is the surrender of the one who understands their true strength. The strength that arises when you stop forcing life to conform to your desires and instead allow life to reveal its truth to you. You don't need to control. You don't need to manipulate. You only need to trust. Trust that everything is unfolding for you, even when the picture is not yet clear. Trust that the timing of your life is always perfect, even when it feels like things are not moving as fast as you'd like. In presence, you find freedom. The kind of freedom that isn't dependent on circumstances or external validation. The kind of freedom that is born from knowing that you are already whole, that you are enough in this moment, right now. You no longer need to prove yourself. You no longer need to compare yourself to others. You no longer need to chase after something you think you are missing. You are whole. The ego will try to tell you otherwise, of course. It will whisper in your ear that you need to be more, do more, have more. It will point to the achievements of others and tell you that you are somehow lacking. But that voice is not the truth. The truth is that you are not defined by your accomplishments, your possessions, or the opinions of others. You are defined by your presence. The moment you realize this, you are free. Free from the constant chase. Free from the need for external validation. Free from the belief that you must become something other than what you are. You are already everything you need to be. In the moment you stop seeking validation, you find the power of acceptance. Acceptance of what is. The moment you stop fighting against the present moment, you begin to align with it. And when you align with it, you align with the power that already exists in the present moment, the power of now. This power is not something that can be taken from you. It is eternal, unshakable. It does not rely on circumstances, on success, on failure. It is the foundation of your being. This is the essence of who you are. So, when life presents challenges, when obstacles arise, when the world feels heavy, remember this: you are not the challenge. You are the presence that witnesses it. And in that presence, you are free. In that presence, you are powerful. In that presence, you can face any challenge with calm, with clarity, and with strength. The key to transforming your life is not in trying harder, working more, or struggling against the flow. It is in surrendering to the moment. It is in letting go of the need to control, of the need to know what will happen next, and simply trusting that you are being guided. Trusting that the very universe that created you is unfolding with perfect precision, and when you surrender to that, you align yourself with that wisdom, with that intelligence, and you discover a peace that no external circumstance can take away. This is the power of presence. Now, let me ask you this. What would happen if you stopped seeking to change the moment? What if you simply accepted the present exactly as it is? Not as a form of resignation or passivity, but as a conscious choice to live fully, to experience this moment as it is without the need to alter it or resist it. Imagine what could unfold when you no longer waste energy wishing things were different. When you stop running from your feelings, your thoughts, your experiences. When you embrace the full spectrum of life, knowing that it all plays a part in your journey, what could unfold in your life if you embraced each moment as perfect, as complete, as divine? When you are in presence, you are no longer subject to the fluctuations of the external world. You are no longer swayed by the praise of others, nor crushed by their criticism. You become rooted in the unshakable truth that you are enough, just as you are. In that truth, you can move through the world with confidence and grace, not because you have everything figured out, but because you are no longer dependent on external validation. This is not to say that you do not take action, that you do not create or build, or that you become passive. Rather, it is to say that your actions come from a place of inner peace and alignment, rather than from a place of fear or egoic need. When you act from presence, you act with clarity. You move with intention. You don't force things to happen, but you work in harmony with the flow of life. And the result? You move through life with ease, with joy, and with grace. Your life begins to unfold effortlessly because you are no longer fighting against the current. You are the current. You are the flow. You are presence. In every moment of presence, you are free. Free from the weight of your past, free from the fear of your future, free to be fully alive in this moment. And when you live in this freedom, you begin to experience the depth of life's richness. You begin to experience the beauty that exists in the simplest moments, the way the sun feels on your skin, the sound of the wind through the trees, the smile of a stranger, the touch of a loved one. These are the moments that make life worth living. These are the moments where you find joy, where you find love, where you find peace, and these moments are always available to you when you are fully present. So, let go of the past. Let go of the future. Let go of everything that has ever told you that you are not enough, that you need to be something else, and simply be. Be here. Be now. Be who you are. And in that being, you will discover the greatest power of all the power of presence. The power to be yourself. The power to live fully. The power to experience life as it was always meant to be lived. This is your birthright. You are presence. And in that presence, you are free. And so, my friend, in this moment, you stand at the threshold of a new way of being. You stand at the edge of an ocean, waiting to dive in and experience its vast, boundless depths. You have already discovered that presence is not a place you go, but a place you are. It is the eternal truth that resides in the heart of all things. It is the power you were born with, the gift that is given to you in every single breath you take. The only question now is, will you choose to stay present? Will you choose to let go of the past, release the need for control, and live fully in the moment? Because when you do, you will find that you are no longer seeking the life you want, you are simply living it. When you embrace this truth, you will no longer search for happiness in distant horizons. You will know that happiness is not something to be found. It is something that arises when you are fully present with life as it is. You will stop chasing after future dreams, believing that they hold the key to your peace. Peace is here now. In every heartbeat, in every inhale and exhale, you carry within you the seed of transformation. The power to heal, the power to create, the power to love is not out there. It is here, in you. And when you embrace this power, the world will transform with you. The people around you will feel it, the opportunities will appear, and the universe will conspire to bring you everything you need. So, as you move forward, remember this. Presence is not a state you achieve through effort, but through surrender. It is not something you need to prove or earn. It is your natural state. You are already whole, already powerful, already enough. And the moment you step into this truth, you are free. You are free to live, to love, to create, and to be. You are presence. And in that presence, you are infinite.